Yeah. Welcome to the Do Life podcast. I'm your host, Life Coach Layla, and today I wanted to do something different. I am going against my normal routine and structure of just editing and uploading pre-recorded videos. I'm recording today, December 31st, 2024, to post for tomorrow. I'll probably post it today, actually, once I get it edited, maybe. We'll see. Anyway, I wanted to talk about something that's weighing heavy on all of our minds, and it's a New Year's resolutions. I decided this year for my New Year's, I didn't want to do the party scene full of booze and drinking and everything that everybody else does. And I'm really sorry if the audio quality isn't here. I don't have my microphone. It's really windy. I am in Grafton, Great River Roads, staying camping at the Pure Marquette State Lodge. I am solo camping. I really just wanted to do some self-reflecting and spend some time in nature and by myself on New Year's Eve. So I want to talk about resolutions and why they're important and some things that I've learned through the life that have been like life-changing as far as how we look at resolutions. And hopefully I can help you do better. I don't know how I want to phrase that. Make better decisions, make better resolutions, make your resolutions stick. I have some powerful techniques and opportunities to share with you. So stick with me and let's get into it. So let's be real. How many times have you set a resolution only to fail within the first week or month or get discouraged and just be like, forget it, I'm not doing it. This was a stupid idea anyway, or whatever the situation. You're not alone, obviously. So if this is so common, why do people keep doing it? Why do you make a resolution every year to set yourself up for failure? Do you really believe that you're going to do the things? Are you one of those people that are super disciplined and you can? Great. If you're not, why do you keep doing the same thing over and over again? Isn't that the definition of insanity? Or something along those lines. Anyway, so what I want to do is share how to shift your mind, have a mindset shift to make your resolutions more about progress than perfection. Resolutions aren't just about setting goals and getting things done. They're about taking action. Resolutions aren't about perfection. They're about direction. And before you can get in a GPS and tell it where you want to go, it needs to know where you are. So before you sit around and think, okay, what are the things I don't like about my life? What do I want to change? What are the goals I want to make for next year? You need to do some reflection. You don't necessarily have to go in the woods, in the rain, in the cold, in 30-degree weather, like some crazy people. But you can sit down and do some self-reflection. Where are you? What is it about your life that you like and don't like? What do you want to change? Are you disciplined? Do you know your level of discipline? I talk about some of the people that are capable of just set their mind to something and then they do it. Hey, I'm going to lose 20 pounds this year. And then they just magically lose 20 pounds because they take the actions and they have the discipline. So knowing where your discipline level stands, where can you really trust yourself to do the thing? We'll get into that. Basically, you need to tell your GPS where you are before you can figure out where you want to go. So be real, be honest with yourself. Where are you in this life? Where are you with your current goals, your past goals, all the goals that you've ever set for your life? And do some real inner work and reflection of where do you lack? Where do you fall short? Do you make a goal and you give up the first time something doesn't go right? Most people do a weight loss. They're going to go to the gym every day. Like the gyms actually make fun of the New Year's group because that's just a current thing that happens every year is all these people sign up for the gym. They're new year, new me. And then they fall off after the first week or first month or so. And the reasoning for that is they get so discouraged after the first time something happens and they don't make it to the gym. They lose track of their new schedule or whatever the situation is, and they never go back. And that's the most detrimental thing that you could do is expect perfection when you're doing any kind of goal setting. That's not real. That's not real life for anybody on the planet. There's always something. So if your goal is to go to the gym every day, is that really realistic? There's some days where you wake up and you're sick or you pull something or somebody dies or you need help with something or, there's so many variable factors that can interfere with that goal. So when you're setting your goals, are they realistic goals, first and foremost? And what are you going to do when you fall off the wagon. If your goal is to go every day and you miss a day, is it just, oh, screw it, I blew it, I'm done, we're never going back to the gym ever again, I don't have to do this goal anymore, like it's a relief, like because you don't have that pressure anymore? Or is it, okay, I missed a day, I went 7 days nonstop, let me see how long I can go next time nonstop? Like, do you redirect? When you get lost on the GPS, it doesn't just say, oh, I don't know where you are, and shut your car off. No, it redirects. So when you miss a turn or a goal, or you don't do something that you said you were going to do, you redirect. And we don't do that enough in our lives. When we're setting goals for our lives, are we being realistic? And not only are you setting goals to accomplish, but are you setting expectations, and are you setting plans for setbacks? So every single goal I've ever made has had some sort of setback. And I used to think that resolutions were carved in stone. If I didn't stick to them perfectly, I felt like I failed. And so you're setting yourself up for failure. It's almost always impossible to stick to your goals 100%, unless your goal is like to drink a glass of water every day or something simple. But the idea is you have to be prepared for when setbacks happen. When something happens and you don't make your goal that day exactly as you want it to, what do you do to make up for that? What is your counter? So basically what I'm saying and what I've learned is that your resolutions and your goals aren't about being perfect. They're about being consistent, and they're about making progress every day. So if one day you don't make progress, you can still continue to make progress on the following days and the days that come, as long as you have those realistic expectations and you know that you're not going to be perfect. So don't set yourself up for perfection. One of the key things that I did instead of setting unrealistic goals and resolutions is I quit doing resolutions for a while there, and I just did a focus word. And, my focus words were things like growth and change and purpose and progress, because those are words that I can redirect and focus on. So when I'm doing my reflections, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, whatever, I can sit at the end of the year. So say I made a focus word was progress, and I didn't think about that word all year long. How many of you make a New Year's resolution and then by March, you have no idea even what your resolution was anymore? It's completely gone. So a focus word, if I do my end of year reflections, so it's December 31st, say my word last year was progress. I can sit down right now and reflect back the last 12 years, reflect the last 12 months and think, how much progress did I make? Did I make progress? What areas didn't I make progress on? It's such a general word, but it's where my brain focuses. So when I'm making decisions, if I'm looking at something, is this going to progress me further? Is this forward progress, or is this regression? And I would base my decisions off of that. I would have things like, my word was growth, and did this cater to my overall growth? If that was the case, then yes. So having a focus word made it easier for me to make decisions throughout the year, and made it easier for me to do reflections as well, because it's so much easier to say, okay, let me take my areas of life, like you've got your overall, your health, your fitness, your love, your relationships, your family, your spirituality or religion, and your emotional and mental well-being. So those are all key factors that most people think about when they're thinking about things in life. Oh, career, business, things like that, finances. If there's 12 overall, and I can't remember off the top of my head because I'm phrasing. So bear with me. If you've ever heard of a thing called Lifebook, highly recommend it. Look into it. It's amazing. It goes over all of those areas of your life and gives you details, like detailed descriptions and questions and things for you to figure out. And this is now the perfect time to do that too. But anyway, I'm rambling. So what I wanted to say is, when you have a focus word, you can focus that word on all of those areas of your life. And when you're doing your reflections, you can say, okay, how in tune to this word was I in all these areas, and where can I improve? So setting goals and resolutions isn't necessarily about setting yourself up for failure, to berate yourself and belittle yourself when things don't go right. It's, how do we redirect? The whole point of meditation is not to just sit and clear your mind, which is most people think it is. The art of meditation actually translates to observing your thoughts. So the more you can sit and observe your thoughts from an outside perspective, the better you are at meditating. And I use that as an example because when you set your resolutions, and your goals and you get off kilter and you redirect and you get back on track, that's the point. Your goals are not about perfection. They're about progress. And I love that. And if you take nothing away from this video that I'm recording in the call, that is it. Your goals are not about perfection. They're about progress. One more thing about the focus word is make it a word that you can reflect on. If your goal is, if your focus word is clean, what does clean mean? Does it mean, like, I have a 5-minute rule? If my house is going to take more than 5 minutes to just like surface clean, it's too dirty. There's too much stuff and it's going to take longer than 5 minutes to just like put everything away real quick. It's too dirty. And I'm also like super OCD and very anal retentive about those things. So that's what clean looks like to me. But clean to you is that wash a dish today, wipe off the sink today, clean one thing every day. If that's your goal and that's the thing that you're working on, that's amazing. That's great. So know what your focus word is and know exactly what it means to you and how you can reflect that. So like if your word is happy, how do you determine that? How can you like reflect and say, okay, how happy have I been? Am I choosing to be happy or am I choosing to focus on negative things? So there's a lot of different things that you could do to make sure that the word that you choose is something that you can measure. It doesn't have to be specific of any sort of reason or whatever, but just make sure that you know what it looks like to you and what it means to you and what progress or being on target with that word means. Okay, so the sun's coming out. Yay! That means it's not raining on me anymore. Okay, sorry, I got really excited for a second there about sun. And yeah, that's why I'm probably going to the desert in a week because it's 30 here and it's going to be 21 next week. Anyway, so what was I saying? Okay, so here's the practical tip. When you're making your goals and your resolutions, make them realistic. I know we talked a minute ago about you're going to go to the gym every day and how that may or may not be realistic. Have you haven't read this book called Atomic Habits by James Clear? Oh my gosh. James Clear wrote this book called Atomic Habits, and it is life-changing. It reminds me of, so my middle daughter moved out. She moved to Washington. She lives in Seattle now. Maybe that's too much information to give to the internet. Anyway, she moved out and I turned her bedroom into our gym. And I always thought that the problem with going to the gym is it was so inconvenient. It was a 15-minute drive. I have to put shoes and pants and clothes and do the things. And I don't like being cold, which you would never guess right now. But I don't want to go outside. If it's cold, I'm not going to the gym. So it was a whole thing. So I made up all these excuses and reasons as to why I never went to the gym. So when she moved out, I was like, I'm going to turn her bedroom into a gym. It's literally 10 feet away from my bedroom and I can just walk across the hall. I'm going to go to the gym every day. I bought all this equipment. I got so excited and motivated by, we got a treadmill and a Bowflex and a punching bag and all these balls and trampolines and vibration plates and all this other stuff. And I was so excited and pumped up. And I went for like a month. And then it was like, it's too much work. It's too much work. It's too much work to walk 10 feet across the aisle. I can walk 50 feet to the fridge and grab something unhealthy or 10 feet to the gym and didn't. So all of those other excuses I put went out the window because none of them made sense. So then I did some inner work. Like, what is it about me? Why can't I? And then in the middle of that, I read that book and it was like, atomic as in not explosive, like atom bomb atomic, but atomic as in tiny little atoms. And so teeny tiny little steps and habits. So the idea was my goal isn't just to go work out for 30 minutes because the thought of doing the workout was so exhausting and draining and mentally defeating to me that I wouldn't do it. Even if I knew it was going to make me feel good afterwards, I knew it was going to do all these things. Every time I worked out in the morning, I felt amazing the rest of the day, the whole thing. So the atomic habit that I created for myself was to go into that room, to go in the gym. I didn't have to work out. That wasn't my goal. My goal wasn't to work out. My goal was just to walk into the gym, which was amazing because it worked. I did a lot more and I was more motivated. I go to the gym every day. I can honestly say I go to the gym every day. I might not work out every day. Sometimes I will lay there and meditate instead of doing any kind of workout. Sometimes I'll just do a 10-minute workout. Sometimes I'll do an hour and a half long workout. Like, it just depends on what I feel like. But my goal isn't to work out. My goal is just to go in the gym. So if I go in the gym and I dust and I clean and I wipe some of the equipment down and then I leave, I've accomplished my goals. So when your goals are something tiny, like if you want to go running every day, don't make your goal to go run a mile every day. Make your goal to put your running shoes on and see how that feels. If you put your running shoes on, you're sick and snotty and you don't feel like doing anything but going out of bed. Your goal for the day is to put your running shoes on. If you don't feel good and you don't go running, don't go running. That wasn't the goal. You see what I'm saying? But when your goal is to put your running shoes on, you put the shoes on, well, they're already there. I might as well go do the thing. My goal is to walk into the gym every day. And every day I'm in the gym, I'm already here. I want to play with this heavy bag or this ball or whatever, weighted ball, barbell, something, I'm in the gym. That's my goal. So I'm already I already feel accomplished. So I might as well accomplish something else while I'm there. So if you haven't read the book, absolutely read the book, because I think that'll change your life. Not just for setting New Year's resolutions and goals, but just in general. It's so much easier to remember, to make little goals, little progress. So when you're making goals, like I said, make sure they're realistic, make sure they're attainable, know your level of discipline. Are you setting goals that you're not going to do? Are you just setting yourself up for failure? Be real with yourself. So the next thing I learned is that your resolutions need to focus on your system. Like I said, if your goal is to lose 20 pounds and you just magically know how to do that, that's great. But if your goal is to lose 20 pounds, what are you doing? I love the phrase, start with the end in mind. So if your goal is to make $120,000 this year, work backwards. Okay, so by the end of the year, I need 120,000. That's 10,000 a month. So to make 10,000 a month, that means I need to make 500,000 every 2 weeks. Not 500,000, 5,000 every 2 weeks. Jeez. I promise I'm not that bad at math. So 5,000 every 2 weeks, that's roughly 2 new clients. So in order for me to make 2 new clients, I need to figure out the averages. One in every 20 prospects turns into a client. So that means I need to reach out to 20 clients a week to get 1 new client each week. That's 2 new clients in a 2-week time frame. So that's 1 new client every week. And what does that look like? Is that I'm making phone calls, I'm following up. I need to go to at least 2 networking events. I need to do these things. Make your plan. So it's not just about your goal and your resolution. What is your plan? How are you going to accomplish these goals? Because so many people are just yeah, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to go to the gym. Why? What's your why? Where's your motivation? What's making you do that? Because when your goal is to go to the gym every day, the first day you don't go to the gym, you're like, oh, thank God that's over with. Because you didn't have the motivation to do it in the first place. It was just something you told yourself you were going to do and you did it. You didn't have a plan to do it. You didn't have a plan for when you failed to do it. You didn't have a fallback option of how to restart once you failed. And you didn't have any motivation to do it in the first place, other than that was just the thing that you said you were going to do. So when we're thinking about making our resolutions, start with the end in mind, work your way backwards, put a plan and a process in place. How are you going to attain your goals? And then what are you going to do when you have your setbacks? And then how are you going to get back on target? And then stay on track. How are you going to measure these goals? How are you going to maintain them? How are you going to make sure that what you say you're doing is what you're doing? And on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, however you want to track these, you need to track them. Every job I've ever had has had what we call metrics or whatever, where they're your focus areas. So for me, it's career, finances, health, spirituality, personal growth. Those are my those are my areas of focus. In jobs, it was we're going to focus on our design, our furniture, our, whatever. The sales metrics were the numbers, and then those were trackable. So right now, when I'm tracking these, okay, so personal growth, where am I tracking that? I gave myself a goal of 15 minutes to an hour of learning every day, whether that's reading 10 pages on a book, if it's taking a course on Mind Valley, or whatever the situation is. I have no less than 15 minutes a day, because that's ridiculous to expect anything less than that. And can I track that? Yes, I can. So if your goal is to be happier, how are you tracking that? How often are you looking at goals? If your goals are, if your goal is to be happier, what does that look like? And how often are you tracking that? Are you tracking it every night before you go to bed? Was I happy today? What could I do to improve tomorrow to be happier? I think setting intentions and tracking those on a daily basis keeps you more accountable, as opposed to last week, what did I do? Yeah, I was fairly happy last week. That makes sense. Every day, was I happy? Could I have been happier? What could I do to be happier? That's where you really hold yourself accountable. That's where your goals and targets stay in line. When I worked at Ulta, we checked our numbers every hour. Like every hour we were like, okay, where is this? And then we're making plans and adjustments according to where we were that hour. Like if we're making $1 million, hey, it's okay if this person's on the floor. Hey, it's okay if this task doesn't get done. Let's help the customers to make more money. If we're making negative dollars, hey, we have too many people on the sales floor. There's not enough customers. Let's cut some people and send them home. So like it really makes a big difference how often you're tracking those goals. So when you're setting big goals, like go to the gym every day, obviously you want to track that every day. If your goal is to lose 10 pounds, by when? How are you tracking that? Are you losing an ounce a day for the next however long? Like what are you doing to track those things? So set realistic goals, focus words, make sure they're registerable. Okay, so whatever resolution you're working on, ask yourself, what structure can I put in place to make this happen or to support this goal? Whether it's setting a reminder, creating a schedule, an alarm clock. I have a friend of mine, she's like the queen of manifestation, and she sets an alarm on her phone, like a cute little bell chime every hour to focus on her manifestation, feel the feelings and all that fun stuff. And that's how she keeps herself on target, is by setting that little reminder. On my calendar and my phone, if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't get done. If you're like, hey, are we going to go out this Thursday? Yeah, sure. If you don't see me put in my calendar, we're not going out Thursday. Because my calendar is basically my Bible. I do whatever it tells me to do. There's a reason I'm standing outside in the cold today, right now, is because I put it on the calendar that I was going to record a beautiful video in Grafton. You're welcome. So yeah, like what are you doing every day for this goal? I think that's it. Let's recap. So resolutions are about direction, progress over perfection. It's about taking small, actionable steps every day to get towards the end goal. Like I said, if your goal is to go to the gym every day, why are you going to the gym? Don't make it to go to the gym every day. Why are you going to the gym every day? That why, your goal. And then if going to the gym every day fits that, that's fine. But what if like maybe going for a 10-minute walk after every meal accomplishes the same thing? It doesn't put so much pressure on you. You know what I'm saying? So progress over perfection. Small, baby, bite-sized, actionable steps that you can take every day to move closer towards your goal. Number 2, focus on systems over your goals. Like I just said, what is the plan in place? What are you doing to accomplish that goal? My goal is to lose 20 pounds. Okay, what is the system I'm putting in place? My goal is 120,000. How am I getting towards that goal? So number 2 is your systems, your structures, your plan. You can't just make a goal and not have a plan. I mean, you can, but then you fail and then you're miserable. And then a week from now, you're like, I'm over it. So, I mean, if you're going to do this and take it seriously, if you're 30 minutes into the video or however long I've been rambling and you're watching this, then clearly you care and you want to do something. So put a plan in place, not just make a goal. And then 3 is to be flexible. Again, most goals are going to have some sort of setback. We live in the real life. Things happen beyond our control, things that we can't do anything about. So what are you going to do when you have a setback? Are you just going to just say, screw it, I'm done, I'm over, I quit, I'm a loser, I'm a failure, and beat yourself up over it? Or are you going to be like, okay, well, we learned that lesson, or what are the chances of this happening again? Probably slim to none, let's get back on the wagon. Okay, so this could happen more often than I want it to. What am I going to do next time it happens so it doesn't affect this? Make it make sense. Be flexible. So that's third takeaway, is be flexible and be prepared for setbacks and things to happen. So yeah, and then don't forget to start with reflecting this past year. Where were you? What did you do? What was your goals? What setbacks did you have? What was your demise, basically? And I would love to hear in the comments, like, what are your goals for this year? What were your goals last year? What are some goals that you have accomplished? Give me some happy stuff. Like, what have you done? What are you happy that you've done? What are you excited about doing in the future? What are your goals? What are your plans? I love when everyone's like, what are your goals and what are your plans? Because those are two separate things, but they're together. Does that make sense? Like, they have to be together. You can't just have goals. You have to have plans. And you can do whatever you want, but I'm just saying, Anyway, okay, so I think I'm done freezing, and I appreciate you guys for sticking with me this whole time. I hope you got value from this. If you did, like, share, subscribe, like I said, comment, do all the things. I love you and I appreciate you, and thank you so much for being here. You guys are awesome. Let's go do life progressively.